Have you ever stopped to think about what really happens when a new purchase just fails? Well, today we are diving into the secret legal safety net that's got your back almost every time you shop. Let's get right into it. We have all been there. You spend your good money on something, a phone, a car, you name it, and it just flat out doesn't work. It's so frustrating, it feels completely unfair, and honestly, it can make you feel like you're totally on your own. But what if I told you that for most of the things you buy, there's a powerful safety net already in place? Yeah, a whole system of rules that just kicks in automatically to protect you, even if you never signed a single piece of paper. This system is part of something called the Uniform Commercial Code, or the UCC for short. The easiest way to think about it is like a backup plan, a set of default rules that fills in all the gaps in any deal you make. And here's the key. Most of the time, we don't actually spell out every single tiny detail of a sale. I mean, who does? So that's where the UCC steps in, providing these gap filler rules to keep everything fair. It's kind of like having an invisible referee for every transaction. So before we can even talk about filling in those gaps, we have to get our heads around what the UCC actually considers an agreement. And let me tell you, this is the first big surprise. It is so much bigger than you probably think. See, legally, an agreement isn't just the piece of paper you signed. It's the whole picture. It includes every conversation you had, every email you sent, and even the common standards of that industry. All of that can be part of the deal. So if there's a fight, what wins? Well, the UCC has a pecking order. The written contract, the express terms, that's king. But right behind that is how you've both acted during this specific deal. Then comes how you've acted in past deals. And finally, the general industry norms. It all matters. All right, let's see how this all builds into something really powerful for you as a buyer. Because once we understand the real agreement, we can get to the best part of the default rules, the automatic guarantees you get without ever having to ask for them. The first one, and this is the big one, is the implied warranty of merchantability. This is an automatic promise you get anytime you buy from a merchant. You know, someone who's in the business of selling those kinds of things. It just means the product has to be fit for its ordinary purpose. A toaster has to toast, a car has to drive. It doesn't have to be perfect, just, fair and average. Okay, next up is the implied warranty of fitness for a particular purpose. This one's a little different. Let's say you go to a hardware store and tell the employee, hey, I need paint that will work in my super damp basement. They recommend a specific brand. Boom. That paint now comes with an implied guarantee that it's going to work for your specific damp basement needs because you relied on their expertise. This chart really breaks it down nicely. Merchantability is your baseline it does the normal thing guarantee you get from a pro. Fitness, on the other hand, is that specialized promise you get when a seller knows you're relying on their specific advice for your specific need. Now, you're probably thinking, if these protections are so great and automatic, why am I still hearing about people getting stuck with lemons? Well, it's because sellers have a way to get out of these default rules. These are the magic words you have got to watch out for. As is, or with all faults. When you see these, it's the seller's way of saying, hey, what you see is what you get and you are on your own. They are basically hitting the eject button on those automatic protections. And as is incredibly powerful. It completely wipes out the it works as expected guarantee and the it works for your specific need guarantee. But, and this is a huge but, here's what it can't touch: express warranties. If a seller explicitly promised you something, like this car has never been in an accident, they can't just take that back with an as-is sticker. That direct promise still stands. So that's the big question, right? If you buy something as is and it breaks down the very next day, are you just completely out of luck? Well, not necessarily. Because even when a seller tries to opt out of all these UCC rules, there are often even higher levels of protection that they simply cannot get around. And this is especially true for us regular consumers. State and federal laws can come in and act like a trump card. Many states have lemon laws that can override an as-is sale for a defective car. And there's a federal law, the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, that basically says if a seller gives you any written warranty, they can't get rid of those implied ones. And get this, it's not always just the buyer who's protected. Depending on which state you live in, these warranties can actually cover your family members or even guests in your home if they get hurt by a faulty product. So let's take a breath.
You've all these protections, the agreement is bigger than you thought, you've got these automatic implied warranties, and there are consumer laws to back you up. But none of it matters if you don't do this one single thing.
You have to give the seller notice. I mean it. If something is wrong with what you bought, you absolutely must let them know about the problem within a reasonable time after you find out about it. You can't just wait 6 months and then decide to complain. And the penalty for failing to do this is severe. No notice means no remedy, period. It is the single most common way for a buyer with a totally legitimate claim to lose all of their rights. So let's wrap this all up into your new buyer's toolkit. First, remember your agreement is way bigger than just the contract. Second, you get powerful automatic warranties from most merchants. Third, watch out for those as-is signs. They're a big deal. Fourth, know that consumer laws can still have your back. And finally, and most importantly, if there is a problem, you have to notify the seller right away. Seriously, once you know these hidden rules, it really changes how you look at every single transaction. You're not just a passive buyer anymore. You're an informed participant who knows the protections you have and, just as important, the responsibilities that come with them. Just think about that the next time you're about to click buy.